Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Brothers Grime podcast. And now, your hosts, Brandon and Randall Witherspoon. Enjoy the show.
Bizz, Buzz, and what?
Buzz Skaggs, but you have to spell it wrong.
Well, no, it started out with, Bizz daily and Buzz nightly.
Bizz during the day, Buzz at night, a little play on words.
Yeah, I like it.
There you go.
Let's give him a terrible name because he's not participating. Like Jeff.
Something has nothing to do with it.
Bizz, Buzz, and Anthony.
Yeah. Way to go, Anthony, you piece of shit. You made it today.
All right, take the camera off of him.
You just make fun of him the entire time.
We're losing ratings. Get out.
He's another podcast. Some friends of ours. They're all drummers.
Oh, that's right.
No, really.
Started a podcast called yeah. So they started a podcast called the Beat Farm. And they're out in Lynchburg. They all live down there. And it's pretty funny. There's a guy on there, a friend of ours. His name's Garrett. And that's kind of like, he's like the butt of all the jokes, it seems to be in the podcast. They kind of
They just make fun of him the entire time. Which is what we do with him, too. So it's perfect.
more than not, he just gets progressively drunker as the podcast
Well, that's their whole thing. They all just drink, while podcasting.
So his morals just continue to plummet.
Decline, yes. It's quite hilarious.
But it's a great podcast. They're all, really good drummers, and they have some really cool people on there, and they're hilarious, comical. They talk about music of all kinds. A lot of hard rock metal is what they're mainly into, but they talk about all kinds of stuff. They had Randall as a guest on there too. He's a fantastic.
It's a two-part episode.
Yeah, two-part episode.
I never stopped talking.
What was it called?
The Beat Farm.
B-E-A-T.
Yeah, B-E-A-T.
They're on YouTube?
I don't know if they're on YouTube.
I don't think so.
They're on pretty much anywhere you can hear podcasts. They have a Facebook page too.
And I'm pretty sure they post the actual episodes on the Facebook page.
Yeah,
so you just go right there.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. If any guys are into music or drums specifically, definitely check out the Beat Farm. Some friends of ours, they have a great podcast. They got quite a good following. Yeah, very cool.
Our buddy Dale Lynn, he puts together his own beats. They're called Damage Beats.
Oh, no kidding.
And I think you find him on SoundCloud.
Yeah, he's on SoundCloud.
So, and he's willing, if you can come up with a good rap, he's probably willing to record you and let you do your own thing. So they've got that going for them.
Any local rappers, give them a call.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dale Lynn. I know the guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah. That's an old FRWF superstar as well.
Is that right?
Dale Damage in the flesh. Yeah, that's him.
Oh, boy.
A promo finally came to me. A good one that we did was I took all the lyrics to Tom Petty's "I Won't Back Down" and I just spoke them into the camera. And
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's genius.
Come on,
you
give
can
us a
stand
little
me
sample.
up at the gates of hell. But no, I won't back down. Oh,
I'm sure there was probably a few in the crowd that didn't realize it was Tom Petty.
Probably not.
Like, man, that was a really good speech.
Some were moved to tears, yeah.
in a world that keeps on pushing me around, I will stand my ground.
Somebody probably got like that line tattooed on their like arm, and then put like whatever your wrestling name
Has
was.
no idea what they just did.
Oh, man.
But in reality, it would be Randall over here with his fingers plugging his nose and singing at the highest pitch of his voice would probably closely resemble what the actual song is.
Yes, the actual Tom Petty. Also known as the worst thing you've ever heard, in my opinion. But, oh, goodness. Yeah, I was just saying this to my wife the other day. I was like, it's pretty sad when, like, your most famous song has been redone by a lot of different people, and your version is the worst version. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that's true. It's a shame. I was listening to John Mayer's cover of Free Fallin', it just made me think of it. And I was like, this is so good. I'm so glad it's not Tom Petty.
Not Tom Petty.
Oh, my goodness.
I've never heard John Mayer's version.
Oh, it's fantastic.
All right.
Imagine it's real like.
out the side of his
It's
mouth.
all
Yeah.
sexy.
Yeah.
Real slow.
It's acoustic. Yeah. It's.
Makes you feel warm and fuzzy, but in a weird way.
Oh yeah, pure gold.
I'm probably just gonna turn this off. Yeah.
I did go to a John. I've seen John Mayer twice.
Turn
and-
it off and remind yourself of your heterosexuality.
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
There you go. To do things. Yeah.
Where's some dirty
So
pictures or something?
I like cover songs that stay true to the original. Like
Don't say Weezer in
I was about
in
to say
Africa.
Weezer in Africa.
Don't.
It sounds pretty similar.
Don't.
I think they did okay with
They
it.
shouldn't have done it. Weezer made a whole album of covers, and it's like
Now,
everybody that did the
Punch,
original did it way
edit
better.
that out, please. Five Toe Life Kick. They put out Bad Company, and I fucking hate it because they changed one word. They changed one word from six gun to shotgun to sound cool, and I just the biggest fucking douchebag.
It's gonna take a lot more than that to make Five Finger Death
With a
Punch sound cool.
shotgun in my hand. They just, they put out, they put out. Why can't they butcher their own songs? Oh wait, they already
But
do.
wait, there's more. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's a shame. I don't understand. I mean,
I saw them live. I was at I think I was at a Mayhem Fest or something, and I think Disturbed headlined it. Korn was before them,
nice.
and Five Finger Death Punch played. And I remember thinking then and there was the first time I ever saw him, and I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And then my whole group was like, I don't really like this too much. So we watched Korn play, and then Disturbed got up there, and we're like, well, I've already heard all of these songs 1,000 times, so we were like, let's get out of here.
But, yeah. There you go. Beat the crowd.
Speaking of shitty music, I nearly ran off the road when I pulled up here to the Front Row First Report studio where we're recording this live from.
The headquarters.
And I saw a bumper sticker on y'all's tour bus out there.
Yeah.
And it said, Bernie Sanders listens to Nickelback.
Oh, yeah. That's pure gold.
Yeah, some punk stuck that thing on there. I don't know where it came from.
That's messed up.
You know, kids are always putting stickers on stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. That's fantastic.
We're bipartisan, so we would never put a sticker
No,
like that on
no,
our actual
no.
vehicle.
Not us personally, no.
Right.
Which you
But
could-
we're not going to
you could-
take it off.
No.
I mean, it's there.
I'm not
right?
taking
And then
that off.
there's the reason.
It might take the paint off.
Somehow it got on two of our vehicles. I don't know
Oh,
how
my
that
goodness.
happened.
It's the same guy.
What a dick.
Oh, man. I wonder if anyone actually listens to Nickelback, like, in sincerity.
Well, you know, Nickelback for the longest time was like one of the biggest bands, like for record sales. So somebody had to have been listening to them.
you know,
A lot of people are lying.
We
Like,
know what
my
they-
wife back
they
there, she
say
loves
that-
them.
They say that they.
Oh yeah, I actually have a story about that sticker.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was going to bring it. Go ahead.
So I think it was one day last week. I'm coming into town. I'm going to work, and I'm in the news van. And it's a true story. Some of the details, as far as actually being a news van, not real. But all right. So I'm coming into town. I'm getting off of off 66, and I'm sitting there at the light. You know, like this whole click it or ticket thing's going on. I'm sitting there fiddling with my phone. It's red light. I'm pissed off. You know, it's like 6:10 in the morning. You know, I don't want to be here. So like I look up my rearview mirror and I notice that there's a state trooper behind me, but he's not like directly behind me and he's not like beside me. He's kind of like diagonal behind me, and I'm like, what is this cop doing? Like, why is he like sitting like at an angle behind me? And so I look up in the rear view and I notice it.
Bizz is currently destroying the studio.
Yeah, he's having a problem.
Yeah.
we got beer all over the place.
We got beer, microphones are flying. It's crazy.
It's all part
It's
of it.
bedlam.
Cheese butt tightly. What are you doing? so I noticed like the cop, he's like sitting behind me, and you know, and I'm looking back, and I see that he's got his phone out. I'm like, why does he have his phone out? I'm like, God, I don't have a seatbelt on. I just had my phone in my hand. I'm about to get in trouble. But why does he have his phone out? So the light turns green. We like pull out, and you know, he's like riding right beside me, and I'm like, I can see him looking at me, but I don't want to look at him. So we hit the next red light, and I look over, and there he is. He's like staring at me. I can just feel it. And I look over, and he's like, you know, motioning to roll my window down. So I roll it down. He was like, fucking Bernie Sanders listens to fucking Nickelback? I was like, yeah, and this dude had like a really rich, like, Maine accent too. He's like, fucking Bernie Sanders listens to Nickelback? What the fuck? And I was like, yeah, he was like, I fucking love your bumper sticker. And I was like, oh my God, he's the coolest state trooper I've ever met.
Wow.
And I like waved to him. He was like, yes, yes. I was like, all right.
That's
That went
That's
a
good.
lot different, more different than what I thought it was going to do.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. Man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, nothing
Great
wrong with
cop
that.
there.
A lot better than the last one that happened to you that you just didn't even look at the guy.
What?
I remember you telling me some guy was pulling up beside you coming down 66, looked pretty irate.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple of those.
You just never looked at him, just kept going.
Yeah. I like offensive bumper stickers. I don't really care their political origin. I just like to put a little shit on my bumper.
There you go.
The car is not like a gym or anything, so I just cover it and stuff.
Why not?
Hey, there you go. If it's funny, it's funny. That's always been my policy.
That's why you got to get a new brake light every other month.
Yeah.
It's
It's them damn Nickelback fans who are offended by the first name in front of it.
We don't want to associate. Yeah.
Bernie Sanders doesn't like Nickelback.
We would know. Oh God! So you know how like hipsters do the opposite of whatever is like cool. So I guarantee, like in the next 5 to 10 years, like every person you see that's like carrying like a boombox and a beard that's down to their knees is gonna be like jamming Nickelback. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah,
mean?
without a doubt.
Well, there's a reason why Nickelback is still talked about.
Memes.
Obviously,
Everybody hates him so much.
everyone hates him so much. But what's his name even came out and said, Kroger came out and said, he's like, because y'all hate us so much is the reason why we're still relevant.
That's true.
And
As long as he's cashing the check.
you know what else?
At least Nickelback's not doing cover songs of songs that are like way out of their league. You know?
I went on the same kick about
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit a while back.
They
but
could. I mean,
there's some Nickelback songs you know every fucking word to.
That's because they were just played at every
Right.
roller rink birthday party.
Yeah,
they
pretty
were.
much.
Oh God.
But no doubt about it, you can't deny it. Do you really hate every single song that they've done?
Yeah.
I can't deny it.
What about the one
Photograph.
where she
That's the only one I know.
she looks so much cooler with something in her mouth?
Was that Nickelback?
That sounds
Yeah,
like
it was. Yeah, they did do that. That was like right at the tail
Well,
end of
I'll put
their.
it to you this way. I can dig some of the lyrics such as that, but musical quality.
That's not
it's
good.
lacking. It's lacking. Oh yes, good God! How do you guys feel about the roller rink? By the way, he just mentioned it. Did you spend much time at Max roller rink here in Front Row as a child?
Me and the wife
I'm
actually
still
went
on
there.
on 8 wheels.
Me and the wife actually went there like maybe a year or so ago.
Oh, how was it?
It was not nearly as much fun. No,
That's a shame.
No.
I think there's still candy cigarettes in the.
They probably are.
No, that's a staple anyway.
Oh, of course. I mean, they're probably the same ones that were.
Well, I mean,
there.
it was a guaranteed
forget
win
from
every
years
time.
ago.
Yes.
It even if it
Petrified.
knows it didn't grab anything, you get another try. So.
Oh, wow.
It's like it's an easy scoop.
They still sell candy
It's
cigarettes?
always hell yeah! You can get them out at.
I'm surprised the women's hasn't done it.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think you can get
Weren't
them at
they out at
Henry's.
Henry's?
Henry's, yeah.
Yeah.
You can get more than that, Henry.
Yeah, buddy.
I was just talking about a meatball sub. Dubious fucker.
That was my nickname in college.
You get your CBD products.
Meatball
or
sub. Was your nickname?
Meatball sub. Yeah, that's the first thing people think of when they look at me. Like, this guy's 2'3".
There's no fucking meatball sub.
Well, that would actually be pretty fitting since they call really big dudes tiny. You're like really tiny, so you're meatball sub. You weigh like nothing.
I probably weigh the same amount as a meatball sub.
That's why they named you.
There's meatball sub wearing a shirt of himself again.
That cocky bastard.
Hey, I know that guy.
I know, hey, that's meatball sub. Dude, where'd you get that T-shirt? That's it.
That's that crazy musician, Meatball Sub.
Oh man,
Meatloaf sub.
Meatloaf's son is meatball sub. Dude, and if he's not, he's missing out on something. He could be cashing in right now.
Meatloaf, son. Won't you come?
My side hurts.
We're doing it right.
Oh, that's good.
You know, I feel like we're missing out though. I feel like everybody else I've seen on like or listened to on y'all's podcast,
Yeah.
you talk about mushrooms. How come we haven't got that?
Dude, well, we can certainly go there. As you know, we're mushroom enthusiasts, and we're advocates for mass production of mushrooms, which is why I've already put my house on the market, and I'm moving to Colorado the second that psilocybin becomes legal there. No, I'm just kidding, but
It already is Denver legalized.
In
They
Denver,
decriminalized
yeah.
it.
Yep, they're working on that Infinity Gauntlet.
The full, yeah.
In all of Colorado, yes.
Toadstool from Mario, poisonous or not?
I would say that would be.
I saw what it did to Mario.
You would probably hallucinate before you died, but
You would definitely die. That's for sure.
great way to go.
Yeah.
And speaking of, well, since we're talking about mushrooms and we were just talking about Nickelback, I've only had one bad trip, if you will, or bad experience on hallucinogenic substances, and that was while Nickelback was playing loudly in the
Of
background.
course. Yeah. I've never.
was.
Yeah.
I've dosed more times than I can count on everyone in here's fingers and toes, but I'll tell you, I've only had one bad experience, and I swear to Christ, it was the only time. And Nickelback.
I've never even done acid, but I have a bad trip every time Nickelback plays. Oh Lord. Good. Yeah. It's a shame, really, but.
Yeah. So, are you guys into the morel hunting and that kind of stuff, or not so much?
No, I like watching other people do it. I don't like mushrooms.
Wow.
Like the
We'll see you later.
store bought ones. That's not my style.
Yeah.
Just something about a fungi, something that has like DNA that's not from this planet. Not a big fan of it.
I mean,
That's pretty
They're
sweet,
mushy.
though.
he gets invited to every party because he's a fun guy.
That's true.
I'm kind of on the fence. I'm like real picky about it. I guess I don't like to do it in the daylight. I don't like a lot of people around that aren't doing it.
I mean, shiitakes aren't that crazy.
We're talking about portobello again, too.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Yeah, I'm talking about morels.
I like to put them on pizza.
So I was at this festival looking for
basement one.
morels.
Yeah, that's right. They were tossing him off the stage.
Totally forgot about the festival.
Found some under a Grateful Dead tarp.
Forget the festival. I'd
They
rather
were
go
just
look for
sprouting up
mushrooms.
everywhere.
Oh God! But back to Mario. So the things that you jump on and land on their head and kill them, aren't they mushrooms too?
I think they are. They look like mushrooms.
The Goombas, yeah, aren't they? Are they not
Goombas.
mushrooms? No, the Goombas are like the walking turtles. I'm talking about the little mushrooms that if you run into them, they kill you. But you land on their head and you kill them. You
Yeah.
kill
The
them.
Koopas are the
Is that what that is?
Koopas are the little turtle duck things.
Oh, I thought that was a Goomba.
Koopa Troopa.
Their Goombas are the mushrooms.
Oh,
What are the things that resemble mushrooms anyway?
well, there you go.
Koopas and Goombas.
But some mushrooms are good, some are bad, and that's true.
In the unreleased Japanese version of Mario 2, well, it's released now, but Japan said that Mario 2 was too hard for American video game players.
Probably true.
It's in the same style as the first Mario.
Yeah, Little Boy was a little too hard for them too, wasn't it? How's that?
It's in the same style as the very first Mario, but in this one, like I think Mario.
We're gonna go there. Let's go there.
Like something.
Your grandmother's grandmother.
Hiroshima wasn't that fucking hard.
Like a fuck your whole ancestor.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
We started.
Any other things? I like Japanese people. They have great sushi,
They
and they
put
make a
out
great
lot of-
hibachi grill.
And
They
they're good
put
at
out a
literally
lot of good
everything.
culture
Yeah.
for us to steal
That's true.
and unappreciate or
Yeah,
unappropriate.
like Tom Cruise did a great job in The Last Samurai.
We're sorry, Japan. We're sorry. Oh God, that's why he was the last samurai.
Yeah,
They're like, you know what? We don't want to be associated with this freaking
Nah.
gringo.
It's like, what's his face that played in that old movie Apache?
Burt Lancaster.
Since when have you ever seen a fucking blue-eyed Native American fucking dude? Like, I've never seen a white man wear more shoe polish. That shit was great.
Other than our governor, he wears a lot of shoe polish.
yes,
I saw
he
his
does.
college pictures.
Particularly in the 80s, yeah.
God.
Oh, goodness.
All right, I'm sorry.
That is pure gold. We are apolitical. That is funny.
Wow. Wow.
Goodness
And I got
gracious.
deep quick.
So anyway, Mario 2, previously unreleased, too hard for Americans. What happened next?
Oh, it was just the second one was when they first introduced the poisonous mushroom.
Oh.
So instead of making you grow bigger, it kill you.
Oh, really? I'd never even experienced
I
it.
didn't know that either.
Between the shrooms.
They had to be different colors.
The poisonous one was a slightly darker shade.
Also, it wasn't like super.
And I think it had a frowny face on it. Or the eyes looked
You
mean.
really pay attention.
You get greedy and mushroom hungry, and you're gonna fuck yourself over. But
Haven't seen that for years, but yeah.
I think it was Luigi could jump higher and Mario could run faster. I might be wrong about that. The one they released in
Seems
America.
plausible.
Luigi was slimmer, so.
He should have been able to.
The one they released in America, Super Mario 2, was originally a completely different game. But when they released it in America, they were like, well, no one's going to buy this game because they don't know what the fuck this is. So they changed all the sprites to Mario characters.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And now that's why you have that really weird off-brand version of Mario where the dinosaur pulls eggs out of its mouth and throws them at you.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where Yoshi might have
Came from.
originated from.
That makes
but
sense. Yeah, the egg thing. Yeah. That's a good point. Well, we went deep on some Mario lore there.
Game, I mean, obviously it's a famous classic. That was always there was always the kids back in the day that were either like the people who loved Mario or didn't. I was one of those who loved Mario.
I did too.
That was my shit, dude. I remember having friends in school.
I would get to the last, the 8th level, but I could never get to fucking Bowser. Actually, which one? I think it was in the 3rd one. Super Mario 3, I did get to Bowser.
Is that the one where you get the leaf and it gives you the tail?
That's where they introduced the tail, the flying thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great.
That's the only thing
That was a breakthrough in Mario history.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get to bounce on the hidden musical notes.
Oh, that was
And then you
cool.
bounce on them and go up into the cloud land
The
and get all
Rainbow
the fucking
Valley or
coins.
whatever it's called.
Oh no, Star Road. You think of
That's
Star Road?
Many of hours spent playing Nintendo.
Wasted.
Not
My
me.
time was wasted.
Not me wasted. I was like 5.
You're wasted on Mario.
On cough syrup.
You know what's cool about that is
Can you give me some Robitussin, put a little seltzer water? There you go.
I found my old Nintendo, Super Nintendo, that I haven't played since probably like either the early 2000s or like late 90s. Plugged it in. Everything's
Worked
still
fine.
saved. It's still
Very
right there.
nice.
It even
It's the
says on
last
the-
place I left
Your
off.
game
Like,
was saved.
yeah, everything's
That's
still
wild.
there.
Oh, wow.
It's like 10-year-old me is still right there. Just
That's
saying,
it.
Even on the bottom of a Nintendo, it says, do not blow into the orifices because it could cause rust and
That's
shit.
the only way to fix it. So I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. But that's what we've always done. That's how you got them to work.
And
I
it
didn't even
always
take off
worked.
that little clip on the bottom, whatever the hell that was. It didn't even hide anything.
Blow into
Yeah.
the
wasn't
Oh,
nothing.
yeah. No, you're right. I know what you're talking about.
Blow into orifices. I like that.
He's been doing it for years. So
Fucking bastard.
he was wasted at 5.
Probably where the ass-eating trend came from nowadays.
Right.
Right, learn how to blow orifices back in the
I'm thrilled that the ass-eating trend came to be because now there's all these fantastic memes floating around about it.
Yes. Oh, memery. It's a wonderful thing.
People won't eat vegetables nowadays, but they'll blow an orifice.
Memory.
That's it. It sounds like something that would be wrong with your car.
Yeah.
Damn it, I
It's got
blew
a
an
blown
orifice.
orifice again.
Yeah, blew an orifice. Again.
I opened
I
a
just
hood.
changed the rings on it.
I opened a hood, blew into it.
Probably a
started
leaky
right
O-ring.
up.
Pulled the beads out and it blew right out.
Good as new, folks.
Nintendo should make everything. Just blow into it.
That would be interesting. There you go. All of life's problems just got solved.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
You
You
guys
need
are-
a raise, you just blow on it. That's all you got to do.
Wait, that's how it works now, though. So, wait.
Go up to the boss and just blow on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're already living in the
You get a
Nintendo
raise.
age. Apparently.
Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I had a Nintendo. This fixes everything.
You know, based on that motion, I'm surprised more of us didn't end up playing harmonica.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, that involves some sucking too.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that was a one-way train there. Yeah.
That didn't come into play until the GameCube, so the sucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, they upgraded.
You know, I think, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, you probably never had to blow on it. You just had to reposition it a different way
Probably.
and get the prongs to hit right.
Sure.
But it was much more satisfying.
Yeah.
Somebody else probably had a blow on it, getting spit all in there and everything.
You gotta get your dust out of that thing.
Yeah, that's right. You probably got dust in it.
Real nice and deep black.
That's right.
It's been exposed to the elements. I gotta get the dust.
That's right. I saw online somewhere, someone was talking about that, and it was like, only you could fix your own game. Like, if somebody else blew on it, didn't work.
It's not gonna work.
Well, dude, I had a pack of Newports shoved into the Nintendo because you know how you put the Nintendo cartridge and then you push it down and it sticks and
Yes.
turn it on.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't work that way. It had to be halfway. So I figured that out. It had to be halfway up. So I'd stuck a crushed Newport box in there and would get it to work. And as long as you didn't fart around it, it would
good to
play
go.
the game all night.
You had to abstain from like Twinkies and stuff while playing.
I mean, someone upstairs
Where
would
did
like fall on the
8-year-old
ground.
you get Newports?
Huh?
Where did 8-year-old you get Newports?
No, this is when I was like 18.
Oh.
I was a lot older at this point.
And so you treated your Nintendo like a 1950s greaser treated his car.
But literally, it would take like someone to like fall down upstairs and like shake the house a little bit and like just a bunch of numbers and like
Oh no, that's a shame. Biz walks over, bam, comes back on.
Just beat the table, it'll come back on.
Yep.
lots of safes coming.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I got a Nintendo 64 like a couple years ago because I just had this overwhelming urge to play Star Wars Pod Racer.
Yeah,
Did you guys ever get down on that?
yeah.
I did once when I rented it from Video World.
Oh yeah.
Or was it Video Gallery or
Movie Gallery.
Movie Gallery.
Movie
yeah.
Gallery. Mm-hmm.
And before that, it was Royal Video, which was at the Government Center.
Oh,
at the
wow.
current
Now you're
Government
going
Center.
way
And
back.
Strasburg's keeping the vibe
I used to-
going.
but it's
Nintendo Video
Dumbo
and Tank.
there
Tank,
every
yeah.
time.
It used to be a Radio Shack. It was like 6 stores in one.
Oh yeah.
Get your
no,
oil change, get a tan,
It's still
get you a movie.
It's still a Radio Shack.
It's still a Radio
I
Shack.
think it's just the one sole independently owned Radio Shack.
The only one that's left.
Yeah, they just went out of business, so like the rights cost like $2. They're like, yeah, you want to be a Radio Shack?
Yeah,
Sure,
we'll
here you
take
go.
it. Why not?
That's where they're holding up,
Oh,
waiting
my
for the
God.
government to come storm in and
Yeah.
take it.
It's not worth their time. Yeah.
This is all I
What was the
got.
concept? Who started the video and tan? Like, where do they coincide?
I feel like that came after it was already dying out.
Yeah, so for those of you who may be lagging behind listening, Shenandoah Video and Tan in Strasburg, Virginia is, they just call it Shenandoah Video and Tan. It's a tanning salon, video rental store, and they don't even advertise it anymore, but apparently it's still a radio show.
It is, yeah.
It is.
So that's 3 stores in one, two of which are advertised. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, that combination. Video and tan.
Sounds made up.
Like, it would be cool if you could watch the video while tanning, but that's probably not good for your eyes. I would imagine.
I can see where someone from the 80s would be blown away by this type of
Video
stuff.
and tan, brother. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just seems like, I'm sure it's probably something that works maybe in another location, like on a beach.
Yeah, maybe.
But,
Yeah, you can pretty much combine tanning with anything.
Yeah. It's not.
I don't see how they do it. I guess Radio Shack might be what's keeping them alive. Nobody goes out and rents movies anymore. I mean, I don't edit this out, but I look up movies that I don't feel like going to go to the movie theater to watch. Or maybe after a while it's been out.
Sure.
Not to say that I haven't watched a movie where you see the people's heads at the bottom of it.
I think
hear
that's why the
people coughing.
superhero movies taking off so well, like, because it's keeping movie theaters alive. Like, people are going like once a month because there's another one coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
That's a good point.
But
The
like,
really bastardizing the series is.
I really
doing
wanted
that,
to
but,
watch
you know,
John
it's
Wick.
still not bad.
And I didn't want to pay for it.
Well, yeah.
I'm just going to watch it once, and I probably won't ever watch it again. So I
Gotta
found it
knock off
online.
Japanese
It's
dub
so
version.
easy to find anything online.
It was in Swedish, but it was sick.
God was good.
Yep.
Have you guys ventured into the deep web, dark web, any of that kind of stuff?
No.
Like, what do
He
you know
dabbles in
about it?
4chan.
4chan, do you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Don't tell everybody that because that sounds bad.
Well, he dabbles in it, and that's like where a lot of stuff gets started. And I appreciate the shit out of it because they like, they're the ones that started the whole "this means white power." The OK symbol means white power. Like and now they're working on trying to get the hashtag symbol to mean like what is it?
So if you like took a hashtag symbol and cut it in half, it's like 2 H's, right? So It's like the whole Heil Hitler thing. It's just really trolling the outrage culture.
Got you.
People believe that shit.
Yeah, you're right. You'll never believe this.
Well, no, half the stuff that they come up with, like Pepe the Frog and the OK symbol, it gets put on major news stations. They're broadcasted, and they're like, so it turns out these are new racist symbols, and they have accomplished what they set out to do. Yeah. And it's amazing what the internet community does. Like, I always bring up this story about, I think it's Britain put out this marine research vessel. There's a big-ass boat, and they were like, we're going to let the internet decide what we're going to name this boat.
Oh, no.
And it was an Arctic research vessel. Something like that. Yeah.
So anyway, they had a couple good names, but the one name that won that had the most votes was Bodie McBoatface. And there's this big research vessel out there called Bodie McBoatface.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Internet.
Yeah, and they don't do that anymore. So like,
well, yeah, it's kind of on them, honestly.
It's kind of. I think Howard Stern kind of helped start that trend where he almost got it. Howard Stern was on his radio show telling people to vote for the worst person on American Idol. And
that's good.
People thought that that's what was happening. I forget which person it was, but someone kept winning and getting to the next round. That was like horrible, and they all blamed it on Howard Stern telling everyone to vote for the worst fucking person.
That's great.
So I love that. I love the manipulation that.
There's nothing better than a good troll. Just
controlling the media through the internet, or as a collective, like a group, like as a whole.
No, that's
like
democracy.
Like, let's fuck the system. Fuck it.
Yeah, why not? I mean, there you go. You pay taxes. Why not?
They say,
that's right.
Democracy's tyranny through numbers.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and it's cool that the internet brings about lots of things. Like, so like people that post things online, feel safe. You know what I mean? So it's like it removes you from publicly saying anything. And so that's both cool and uncool at the same time, because in one aspect it gets people to say things that they might not say otherwise in person. So it gets people to express themselves. So I find that to be a positive thing about it. And also, kind of hinting towards that direction. You talk about Edward Snowden and stuff going public. Without the internet, would he have been able to successfully do that? No. Like, there's no radio station that would have aired that kind of stuff. How else would he have done it? He couldn't have been broadcasted on TV. So, stuff like that that needs to come to light, has a chance to do so now with the internet, and as powerful of a tool as it is, and how many people it reaches, instantaneously. So yeah, I'm a fan.
Man, too, the thing I hate the most is like the amount of false information, like on either side, that like, God, it drives me crazy.
Well, that's really everywhere you look.
The false information, and then the small radical groups that get their word out.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I say, both good and bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up something that kind of pisses me off about everyone wanting to fight Nazis and do stuff like that, but it's not. There are Nazis out there, but there's not a big group of them. But everyone acts like it's this up and coming, rising thing, and then the media takes control of it, and it's like, they're fucking the white power, all these crazy Ku Klux Klan members, and then the whole out of sight, out of mind thing. So all of a sudden, this stuff's getting blasted on TV. Then you got people that like to be trolls that are like, oh, cool, I want to be a Nazi now, to piss these people off because.
It's just and it's the same way. So like you take there's two sides of the token here. So you take a small group of radicals and you blast them all over every social media network and every news channel and everything. And so it looks like, there's this outbreak of racism that's uncontrollable and wildfire, but it's really not. In the same way that they took the radical Islamic and conveyed them over large media and made people hate Muslim people, when in reality it's just a small group of radicals.
I get where people join in, and they're like, "Oh, fuck these people,"
because the radicals deserve to be fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it also gathers a group of people that are like
the rebels. Everybody wants to be a
that.
rebel. It's like, oh, this is the worst thing I can be. It's like everybody hates these people.
Yeah, you're almost like either idolizing or glorifying it in a way.
Yeah.
I mean,
By just giving it that moment in the spotlight, you're automatically going to draw more people to it because it just exists.
yeah, I mean, that's
Right. It's just again, out of sight, out of
why
mind.
broadcast anything negative? You know what I mean? That's what it really boils down to.
That's true. If you think about your day-to-day
But
life,
that's all the news is, right?
yeah, it's not like that.
That's what brings in the ratings. People want to see that shit.
Well, yeah.
Turning the
Think about
country
drama.
against each other. I mean, separate, divide, and conquer.
I know, man. 327 million people. If we could just get along, we could do so much. But
If we could look past the horse shit that's all over the news, right, and focus on what's actually important in this country, just think it. You want to talk about that's the other thing. While I'm an advocate for legalization of marijuana and all that kind of stuff, here's the thing, and I said it before, I'll say it again. That's great and all, and I'm for that. But I really wish that we as a people could come together and have that kind of push and movement towards things that are much more important.
more important, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Like that's at the bottom of the list of importance to me. You know what I mean?
the Flint, Michigan thing. I mean, how come that isn't taken care of? Like, we're this big prosperous country, right?
Oh, with the water and all that?
Yeah. Sorry, it's just kind of like a normal thing that people bring up. Like, hey, why isn't this being taken care of? But no, seriously, why isn't it? Well, how come we're not a third world country? Maybe we're $19 trillion in debt. We should be a third world country, but
But money is not real.
right, money is a digital thing.
Yeah, well, dead, yeah.
Paper money's
why
entirely
is
based
it
off
a-
consumer confidence in what it's
Intrinsic
worth.
Why is it a
value.
problem to get
Not
this
worth
one
anything.
town water?
Yeah, right. Isn't it 2019?
What about Detroit? Detroit's a bankrupt city. Why can't we, like, all this money that we're throwing around, why can't we just, like, spot
In
Detroit
order to
like
make
a couple
Detroit,
$1 million?
in order to make Detroit work,
Hey,
man,
man, get your
you
shit
need car
together,
companies to
like-
make cars there again.
Well, they need to find something else to do. Maybe not car companies anymore. Puerto Rico had an electricity problem. I don't know if they're still dealing with that or not.
I think so.
Yeah.
But that's it's owned by USA. Like, why aren't we helping ourselves? Like,
Because we got to help everybody else. All that foreign aid that we send out to countries that don't.
That's bullshit, though. I mean, yeah, I know, I agree with you. That's why, or that's part of the reason why. But
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess generally speaking,
that $6 billion that we spend on our fucking military, why can't we take like $300 million of it and send it to Puerto Rico? Like, hey, get your fucking electricity back on, dude.
That's true.
Like, there's so much money getting thrown around for shit that nobody is voting for, that we don't want.
Right.
yeah.
We just need a big reset button.
That's
Let's
it.
just take a step back here for a minute and let's see what all we got.
The reset button could be many, many different things.
Yeah.
It's a theoretical reset button.
Scary what that reset button could end up being.
They could already be working on a reset button,
The powers that be.
But I do agree that here's the thing. I mean, it's like there's everything's so wrong and so just ass backwards. It's like at this point, what the fuck would it actually take to just get people to snap the fuck out of it? You know what I mean? Like, what would it take? Would it take a total economic collapse before people said, "Wow"? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, to think back to this, and this is a terrible thing to say, but look back at 9/11. 9/11 happened. The entire damn country came together.
It's true.
For several months after that, everybody didn't care about who people loved, their political beliefs, their religious belief. Well, no, I won't say that necessarily, because that definitely came in the fire. But you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
For months after that, everybody was an American in this country for that time, and everybody wanted to work together. It's a shame that it takes something like that to bring.
Tragedy. Yeah.
To how quickly that
ended.
dispersed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As soon as politics came back into it again, elections, it's all over again.
Well, no, everyone joined together. That was probably the last time that's ever happened, where everyone was on the same
definitely.
page.
It absolutely was. Yeah.
Sure is.
And then it come to find out that now you got half the people think it was a staged act of our own government.
Because it was.
Because it was. And, I mean, the FBI or the CIA has been known to try this shit before with Cuba. The only person, they wanted to stage a terrorist attack in Florida, and the only person that turned it down was John F. Kennedy. And
what happened to John F. Kennedy?
What happened to John F. Kennedy?
The second shooter!
On the grassy knoll. Yeah.
So everyone was
the
on
grassy
board
knoll.
to go fight Afghanistan for blowing up her towers, but really it was for that oil or whatever it was. There was weapons of mass destruction over
That
there
we never found.
that we never found.
I'd feel a lot better about it if they just said that, they have oil and we're going to go secure it. I'd feel a lot better if they just said that.
Just be honest, yeah.
Be honest with me.
Sure.
Like, I understand the world.
I pay your salary, so be honest with me.
Yeah, just be honest with me. Like, it's still fucked, but, at least tell me that.
Have you seen a picture of like, I don't know. I'll just say it. Have you ever seen the picture of George Bush like with a gas pump handle in his hand, and he's like pouring gas on the Twin Towers as they're burning with like devil horns and like?
Oh, God.
Have you seen any of that shit?
Well, I don't enter the dark web, but
Well, you're missing out, brother.
well, I'll have to jump on that.
Order yourself a mystery dark web package and see what comes out.
That's why I don't fuck with the dark web. I've seen that.
That was
People get some
sounds
weird stuff,
horrifying.
man.
That was a quick tactic to get everyone on board to go fight another country, and it worked. And that
Wars
was
make
like
money, my
the
friend,
early.
yeah.
That was the early
Anything to
age.
generate money.
Yeah, there you go.
Wars.
That was a fairly early.
How did we get out of the Great Depression?
That was fairly an early
It wasn't building
stage.
parks.
Absolutely.
And early.
It was allowing a certain country to bomb a certain base to get us into something very big.
There you go.
This was an early stage era of the internet too. Not everyone had internet in their home,
True.
so it worked.
Just like the moon landing.
Just like the moon.
The
landing.
supposed moon landing.
I love conspiracies.
Yeah, we love talking about conspiracies too. That's
What, Neil Armstrong said it sounded like a big basketball when he jumped on it, like it was hollow.
I don't believe that guy for a second.
like all conspiracy theories aside, the moon landing conspiracy theory, I believe, has the most validity to it. Just simply because of all the motivation to do it. When you really sit down and there's so many really detailed breakdowns that analyze every part of every aspect of that, that whole moon landing and space race and all that. And you look at all these things that people pull out of pictures and videos, and it's just like it's almost overwhelming, And like I said, the motivation is there. Right?
We had to prove to the Russians that we could do better than they could do. We were having a Cold War. At the time.
Who took a picture of the two astronauts outside of the craft?
An alien.
Yeah.
George
There's
W.
a
Bush.
camera on the leg of the aircraft, but
Yes.
of the spacecraft.
That's beside the point. But yeah. I mean, and honestly, like I've talked about this before, like with people, but because obviously we went to the moon multiple times, clear through the 70s. And maybe we have.
Why haven't we been back?
Not that. But
We were told not to come back.
yeah, exactly.
Where else?
There you go. It was an entire army
Get
of
off my lawn.
people. Exactly, right. Yeah, for some reason, George Bush was already there. He was like,
Yeah.
The actual George Bush.
yeah, exactly.
Not the government clone.
We got oil up here. He's reptilian. But yes,
version.
yeah.
He spits acid.
But anyway, I was going to say, what I have a hard time believing is not that we went to the moon at all. It's that first one. Just because of the time period and the lack
It was a
of
race.
technology and all of that, and like you said, that's when it was all heated up and all that at the same time. So, I don't know. It just seems unlikely that they were able to do something like that at that time.
And then they talk about the radiation belt that you have to supposedly pass through.
Oh yeah.
And how big of a deal that is, and it's
The
like,
Van Allen belt.
Yeah, correct. The Van Allen belt. And it's like that amount of radiation. Getting anywhere near it could kill you. And it's like, how did we possibly have? But they're bringing that up as reasons why they don't, go back and stuff. And it's like, well, how the hell did you possibly have the technology to pop yourself through the Van Allen belt back in the day? It doesn't really.
Our dad was telling me about this.
Father.
Yes, you've heard him right here on the Brothers Grime. But anyway, he was telling me, we were talking about this, and he was like, he watched this video where somebody posed that very question, like, if we got through it supposedly before, how come we can't get through it now, the Van Allen belt? And the dude literally said, and not just this one guy, but multiple people who work for NASA have said the same thing. They said, we have lost the information.
Well, all their records were destroyed, remember?
Yeah, we lost the information, that the calculations and all of these things that they supposedly figured out back in the 60s.
Yeah.
None of that information is available now.
Yeah, they've lost all the records and
That's
all
what they all
But
said.
we're so much more technologically advanced now. That
You think it wouldn't that be like child's
Yeah.
play to them at this point?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, and it's I have a hard time believing it.
And I'll
You
believe
know,
that.
I mean, as with anything that the government tells us, there's always motivation to lie.
Yeah.
And so, why, you have to take everything. You have to look at everything from that perspective. Like when you're dealing with, information like that from the U.S. government, you have to pretty much just kind of already assume that it's bullshit and go from there.
Yeah.
I mean, does that make you a conspiracy theorist or whatever? Maybe, I don't know. But I mean, I think it's pretty reasonable to think that way, or at least be totally, apprehensive, and not. I mean, with anything though, you should have the facts out there, and anything that's presented to you in a secretive way, you should, take with a grain of salt.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I remember the first time I met Buzz here and his wife, and I was about 3 sheets to the wind. Was that the wine festival?
It was after the wine festival.
I talked to Chris Cubbage.
Yeah, there you go. Shout out Chris Cabbage.
So, we were upstairs in my buddy's house, and I was on this long-ass rant about aliens and conspiracy theories.
Nice.
It's true.
A regular
think
Tom DeLonge.
Courtney-
Must be a Blink-182.
Courtney
Yeah, I was about
didn't
to
want
say,
anything to do with me after that. She's like, this guy's weird. But Chris was like, I'm all about this. I get
Yes.
it. I get it. This
Keep
guy's
going.
on to something.
That's good.
I can't remember what I was saying or what I was ranting about.
We
But
were comparing religion to alien theories.
oh, okay.
There you
To speak on taboo things here, I've always said that you can't believe in one and not the other. So if you believe in religion, you also have to believe in extraterrestrials.
No religion, Chad. I mean, Buzz.
I'm just saying, that's my opinion.
Sure.
It's got to be both.
I get what you're saying.
Makes too much sense.
There you go. I would say,
As there's proof of neither. Right.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You can't prove or disprove. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, we're a giant game of Risk. There's multiple gods that all told us the same thing. Sorry. All right, I'll stop.
We're a giant universe. You heard it here first.
I said religion. I didn't say anything about gods. I didn't say anything about talking about creation and like we've discussed many times. Randall and I both, just based on the sheer evidence, believe in a creator.
Yeah.
So agnostic.
Well, no, I wouldn't even claim that. I'm just saying that I believe there has to be a creator of this universe because there's too many facts to point in that direction.
There's too much order.
Yeah, there's way too much order. Everything has a specific order and a purpose, and so it's to me it's almost I would feel stupid saying that there wasn't, or at least I shouldn't say that. I would feel like an idiot for thinking that there couldn't be, not at least considering the possibility.
I heard a
Cosmic chance, it just doesn't sit well with me, And that's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying that if you are an atheist that I have anything against that or whatever. You're entitled to your own opinion, and that's what we're all about. Hearing opinions, man.
I heard a crazy one the other day. It kind of stumped me for a second. It was like, so like everything on this planet revolves kind of around math. Pretty much everything we do revolves around math. There's an equation for everything. And it's like, what if everything we see is like a, it's like a,
Simulation.
like a simulation.
The
and
Matrix.
The program is math, and that's why everything falls into place like it does, because it's like one big mathematic equation.
Yeah, the simulation theory, it gets to a lot of people. That's
I like them all. I don't care.
Yeah, no, I do too. That's always an interesting one to ponder, though. Because it's like so.
Well, I remember walking out of the when I went and saw The Matrix in theaters. I remember walking out of that place like mind blown, thinking like, what if we were in a fucking simulation? Like,
I think a lot of people had that same reaction.
Which was the intended
and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a cool idea.
You're falling right into the trap. That's exactly
Yes.
what they want you to do.
Directed by George W. Bush.
Weapons of mass denominators, man. You're falling right into it. It's all math.
If he's the mastermind, I want out.
weapons
I
of
want out
mass
now.
divided by volume.
Oh, God.
Have you guys ever heard, speaking of like conspiracy theories, have you heard of the the hollow Earth theory.
Oh yeah.
God, that blows my mind. I like it for the science fiction
And
fact.
the same thing with the moon. They talk about,
Hollow. Like the thing that blew my mind about the hollow Earth theory is that they talk about Admiral Byrd. We've got schools named after him and like highways and shit. And, like the story of him going up to like explore the Arctic, and then like suddenly he goes inside of the planet without knowing that he's inside of the planet, and he meets these like great, like 12-foot tall, like Nordic looking people, and they've been there for hundreds of thousands of years, and they're, it just kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, that is really crazy. I've looked into that too, and in fact, talking about that, obviously, I have to talk about Antarctica and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of theories that surround Antarctica and a lot of secrecy.
Sure.
It's shrouded in secrecy.
Why can't we go there?
Yeah, I mean, it really. I think it was Alex Jones, and it may have been the episode where. The most recent episode where Alex Jones and Joe Rogan reunited on the Joe Rogan podcast. And yeah you catch that one, man? They were talking about, I think it was on that episode, they were talking about getting a ship, and Alex Jones was going to supposedly fund
go up there.
And they were going to, just take a cruise up there, man, and see for themselves. And I really wish that I had the time and funds to just, at least get a plane and just,
go.
Not just Antarctica, but, just literally fly around the world and just see how it goes, man, and especially up there in Antarctica. But I think it's been like proven. I think it's pretty much a fact that there's been many military bases in the U.S., the Soviet, other countries, on Antarctica and stuff like that. So I know we've been there, and it's just odd to me that it's kept so secretive.
And why was Hitler so obsessed with it? That's the other big thing.
Yeah, it is.
He was like super obsessed with it.
What's there, man?
And he was hell bent on world domination. Why was he so obsessed with like getting subs up there and like what's up there?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, he's probably not the best example, but at the same time, somebody that's hell bent on taking the planet over.
That's a good point.
That's
what's up there that's so
intriguing.
Why is it relevant?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And why is he using ancient symbolism, for their symbolism?
Right.
Shit that ties to, I don't know. It's just
What
weird.
slipped my mind, it's just a quick statement, is the fact that we can sit here as scientists and figure out how dinosaurs were created from a single cell organism out of like a pool of cells, bacteria, and how it turned into like a fish and they started walking on land and turned into these monsters.
Evolution, yeah.
Well, yeah, evolution. But we ourselves, we can't figure out where we came from. There's the missing link. And to me, it's just bullshit. They just won't tell us. Like, if anything, I think it's hidden in the Vatican Library.
Who knows?
The missing link, we can figure out where dinosaurs came from 65 billion years ago or a million years ago, but we can't figure out how humans came to be and became sentient beings. And it's just bullshit to me. Like, we definitely know. Somebody knows. It's the information's there. They just can't tell the general public.
Yeah, and not only on that subject, you're right on every subject that we don't know about. At least most. Obviously, there are unanswerable questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, clearly, there's so much that we haven't been told. That people somewhere, someplace definitely know. I totally agree with you on that, and that's a valid point.
But just the missing link thing. Like, we can't figure out how we came. We say we came from monkeys.
Right.
But we can't figure out that transition from where we started using, communicating and figuring out a language and using tools.
That's what we're talking about.
Right. But we can't figure out where our spine straightened and where we started walking upright all the time. It's just the missing link, which has always been, everyone's heard of that.
Wouldn't there also be multiple versions of that?
You would think.
A, B, also.
Why aren't they evolving right now?
There would be multiple versions of
Still
us
here.
still here, and also why are monkeys still around? Also, the odds, first of all, of the missing link being like this perfect version the first time, and then you need a female version of that as well, and the odds of them procreating and then it's somehow surviving, it's pretty much mathematically impossible.
Well, if you ask me, I don't feel like I believe in evolution, but I don't think that we evolved on this planet. I almost assume that we were planted here, or we were, what's the word?
bread.
Ingested. we were bred here, more or less. We were bred with something and created that way.
Right, the
Or we were
Nephilim.
placed here by another race from a superior race that floats around in the heavens.
We're obviously we're superior to animals, so it's like, well, where do we? Yeah.
It's either somebody knows of the missing link and it did exist, or there was no missing link. Very simply, either we evolved from primates or we did not. If we did not, there is no missing link. We have been and always will continue to be humans as long as the universe exists in the way that it currently does.
But there's so many different versions of us.
But if there was a missing link, there would be an entire layer on the planet that would be full of bones of that one missing link species.
Well, what do you mean by versions of us?
Well, to get a little racist here, you got Asians, you got Africans, you got white
It's
people.
not racist to state
Or
race
Europeans.
names, but yeah.
So basically, you got Asians, Africans, Europeans, and Eskimos.
Yeah, buddy. Well, yeah.
Mexicans.
Yes.
Now we've all
I think Mexicans are a mixture of natives and.
If you ask me, I know this is racist, but if you ask me, an Eskimo is a fucking Mexican that lives up
I don't
north.
understand that logic.
No.
He's
Like
just a
they're all
northern
on the
Mexican?
same continent.
Okay.
They were all on the same continent. More or less, Native Americans are.
They're all
Mexicans.
Native American. They're just different types.
They're not
Like North
Mexicans. They're all
America, South
Okay, so
They speak
Mexicans are
different
Native
languages.
Americans. They're not even Native Americans. That's still right. No matter which way you say it, it's all fucked up.
Yeah.
So you got
They all
Eskimos,
originated
Native
here, though.
Americans,
We're not
and
judging you
Mexicans.
here at the Brothers Grind, my friend.
Okay, so they're
You're not
to
back
me
to it.
they all look similar
Sure.
race. Then you got
They all live in the same continent. Yeah, you got
they all live on the same continent.
Same
then you
part
got
of the world.
Asians.
Asians are Mexicans too.
No,
They're just Eastern Mexicans.
Yeah, okay.
We're all Mexicans.
We're all Mexicans.
well,
All kinda
no, you
look
got
the same.
then you got your Asians that
Speak for
spread all
yourself.
over Asia. Hence the name of the continent. And then you got your Europeans, the white people,
Sure.
who all take over like Russia and Europe.
So then how do you explain the
And then you got
Pangea effect?
Africa.
If we were all one continent previously.
I don't think we were here during Pangea.
All right. And then we were planted in different places.
Yeah.
So you think the impregnation of the
When
human
was
race was
Pangea?
post-Pangea? Oh, like historically speaking?
Yeah,
Like a timeline? Yeah, I don't really know. As far as it lines up with like the human race, I'm not really sure.
Because I want to
That's a
say
good question though.
I want to say Pangea was like I'm probably wrong, but before the
don't know.
dinosaurs or maybe the Jurassic age,
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
where the shit was just learned like getting rid of their fins and starting to walk around.
Could have been.
Yeah, we should
Maybe we should become
school
scientists.
ourselves on
Yeah.
Let's educate ourselves a tidbit before we go embark on those kinds of
It'd
conversations.
be a lot easier if somebody just invented a time machine or something.
Yeah.
Solve a lot
That's
of
true.
problems.
Let us in on the-
They probably already have invented a time machine. They just won't let us use them.
Oh, check this out. This just hit my brain right here. This is a shockwave that just hit me. Check it out. In the future, time machines get invented, and you're allowed to go back in time on one condition: you have to die.
Ooh.
Which is why, they're like, wouldn't people be in the future? Like, blah, 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 or wouldn't people from the future come to the past and be like, hey, I'm from the future?
You mean your past self would cease
That's
to
what
exist?
Stephen Hawking said. It's like if time travel is a real thing, then where are the time travelers?
Right, but what I'm saying is the government is obviously going to regulate it like everything else, and they're going to be like, you can do this, but...
Yeah, well, so you're saying your past self would die.
No, I'm not even talking
your
about
future
Back to the
self
Future.
would die.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's like the government tells you can do this, but you have to, like, kill yourself, and also you can't talk to anybody, and they have...
You're not
I don't
allowed to come
understand the
back
kill
home.
yourself.
Well, because they would have time,
I don't know.
maybe like time
Because you could go back and totally
rangers.
spoil shit. Be like, oh, the Dodgers win.
Time
You could
cop.
go full Back to the Future.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Maybe they have, like, time cops or, like...
But I'm just confused as the kill yourself part. Like, what do you mean kill yourself? So, like, you're talking about... So, like, if you... Right now, if I were to get in a time machine and go
Yes.
back into the past...
Yes.
Okay, there would then be two of me existing in the
Right.
same timeline,
Right.
right? So, what are you talking about when you say kill yourself?
I just
for
mean
clarification.
like you wouldn't be able to. I'm just like maybe not
Come back
maybe
home
not
and
kill
tell-
yourself, but
You would
some
be barred from returning to your actual
The,
timeline.
the flaw in your
One-way trip.
idea...
there would be some
The
sort
flaw
of
in your idea is
yeah.
that if you went back in time, you could still fuck up and alter
You could kill yourself, but then there's the paradox of...
Well, you could go back in time and tell people like who won the World Series of this year.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It would have to be regulated in some way to where you weren't allowed to...
in your past self's mailbox after the winning lottery.
That's a good idea.
One time when I was on Morels,
Not bad.
I thought of like, what if what if UFOs are just humans from the future? Evolved humans from the future whose cloaking mechanism just kind of went out for a second. They're like, oh shit, they can see us right now. Like, fuck. Hit the cloak button. Like, they see us. They can see it. They're looking at us.
It's Bizz and Bizz in the future. They drank too many beers.
It's true.
Too many space beers and hit the wrong button.
Yeah, like, God damn it. You can see us.
Thanks a lot, Bizz.
They're looking at us.
Theoretically, wouldn't time travel be possible? So, like, you know, if you could travel twice the speed of light and then look backwards, wouldn't you technically be able to see in time? Because
You think so?
No, it ties into Einstein's theory of relativity because time is relative. That's the whole thing. Right. So if you're not spinning here on Earth and you're like way far away, like and like you were talking about traveling the speed of light or above it,
the time travels through your body. So if you're going at the speed of light, you're moving faster and everyone else is going slower, but everything seems normal to you and everything else around you is going slow. So you're aging. You're aging quicker than everything around you. So you are kind of time traveling, but it's only going through your body. So if you were to run at the speed of light, I don't know. That's weird.
Probably turn into charcoal.
You'd probably
It'd be a nice Kingsford briquette for somebody's cookout.
there you go.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a person.
It's somebody that actually figured out how to go that fast.
Yo, I'm traveling.
Just stuck in an internal loop till he burns out.
That's awesome. Oh my
Probably
God.
Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah, most.
He's still going up there.
Yeah, I finally found Antarctica.
Hitler and Tupac are on the moon.
Yeah, most
And
likely.
Elvis.
Here's
And Osama.
He still cheers every time he comes back because people are pointing, but he thinks they're, hey, there he goes.
it's Halley's Comet.
Yeah.
But,
Halley's
Comet. But here's I think about when I
Oh,
think
man, you didn't.
about. Oh wow. I think about time travel. You would be able to travel.
Did you say Halley's Comet?
Halley's Comet. Yes, I did. Theoretically, if they were to invent a time machine, you could go back to the past because the past has already happened.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, the future it's never occurred. There is no such thing as the future.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
Mr.
true.
Scrooge did it.
You see what I'm saying? Well, that was just because he ate too many morels.
You do a lot on those things.
Yeah. They'll get you going. Oh, man. But I think about that all the
I
time.
never thought about that. Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
there
that's
is no
true.
such thing as the future. There's literally only the present. And
But
the
you know,
past.
too, like when you go to sleep, if you have a dream, it feels like it's 3 hours, but you know, it's only been, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Oh, buddy.
So
Yes.
what if time is the same deal? Like, I'm dead right now,
Different layers.
but something's happening.
Right.
But,
I believe in the whole like time is man-made, is a construct.
As far as keeping record of time, yes.
Man, we were getting deep.
I know. Well, like
of course.
anyone seen the movie Interstellar?
You're right. Matthew McConaughey.
Crazy movie.
Yes. So
The Ocean Planet scared me.
the ocean planet terrified
I fell
me.
asleep, but
I know it's a lot, but what happens is they go to another planet and they get down there and they read this thing and they're like, every minute down here is 7 years, or what was it? Every hour,
Something like that. Yeah.
every hour we spend on this planet is 7 years
back at home.
Back at home.
Yeah.
So I believe like the concept of time totally changes once you get farther out there, but who knows? I don't, and it's just yeah, absolutely.
But see, I love thinking about it.
I do.
yeah.
I like it when it makes my head hurt just a little bit.
Well, anytime you start talking about anything other than this planet, it's going to happen. You know,
Yeah.
it's really unfathomable. I mean, it's pretty crazy. But
As
that's
far
what makes
as
it cool to
the
talk
scale
about.
of things.
Yeah.
Our mind obviously can't have it because we've never seen it.
It's like the movie.
Or never could. It's not possible.
True. You can't gaze upon the universe.
You guys seen the movie Animal House? And the professor's like, talking about how this entire universe could just be the atom and the fingernail of some giant being. Who knows? We don't know.
There you go.
Can't see that far.
Exactly. It's the Truman Show, bro. I think we've referenced that movie in every single podcast, by the way.
Well, look at fucking
Okay. Take notes.
Look at the man. Look at Truman himself, man. Yeah.
Jim. Oh, the real life Truman. Oh, yeah.
Carey, man.
Oh, yes. Well, he's back to being normal now.
Wow.
He went
He did
wild for
kinda
a
get
while.
little bit-
Yeah, right. Although, did you look at his paintings during that time period?
Yeah, they were
Very
crazy.
fascinating. He definitely entered another realm.
Poor Jim Carrey.
I'm trying to think of this old philosophy question. Well, it's not old, but I'm probably going to butcher it. So, I know, this is like totally off topic.
This is why we're here.
So, if you were to go down into the bottom of the ocean and grab the Titanic and bring it back up top
Mm-hmm.
and put it back together and make it float again, would that be the original Titanic?
Yeah.
But it's got new parts on it.
Oh, well, you didn't say that. You said put it back together.
You have to. You have to
Oh,
repair
most of it probably disappeared. Well, then no, it wouldn't. It would be parts of the original plus new parts.
So it's not the original Titanic.
Well, no.
So where are you going with this?
Of course not.
That's why I was afraid I was going to butcher this question.
We're like, all right, well, that one's debunked. Next.
Yes, all right.
Oh, yeah.
So no, it's not the original Titanic.
No.
We can put that one to bed.
Yeah.
No.
It's officially over, yeah.
But
You
it
can
has
sleep
original
now.
parts.
Yeah.
Hey, there are some original pieces on said.
Don't tell that to
theoretical
car
Titanic.
collectors, then, because
Yeah, right. Well, think about this. You know how, like, you...
I wonder how much it would be worth if you did that.
Well, not as
Why
much.
hasn't anybody done that yet?
I don't
did you know that
Probably
the
too
pools
brittle.
the pools are still full on the Titanic?
It's true. To this day, yeah.
Yeah, they're more salty than they once were, no doubt.
That's true.
Are there any Titanic survivors still alive?
Ooh.
Do you know?
When did that
That
even
was
occur?
1912. I
Yeah,
think?
1912 is when it wrecked.
I remember watching something about one of the
I
survivors
don't-
in an interview, but I don't
I did too. It was like this 3-hour movie
I don't
with,
know
with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, it was pretty-
They painted a
There's
naked
this
chick
one
or
old
something.
lady. I think she died a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, I remember watching this movie as a kid and just picturing them like, oh god, I saw that old lady's boobs a few minutes ago. They definitely
Whoever
don't
was
look the
alive
same
on the
now.
Titanic had to have been born on the Titanic and is 120 years old. or
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and say no.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anybody alive still from the Titanic.
I wouldn't think.
The last survivor died in 2009.
There you go.
Oh, wow. That's sad, actually.
But their kids are probably still alive.
That's
Well, there you go.
if they were able to work up the courage to reproduce after such a traumatizing
You're like, I don't want to bring I don't want
they're
to bring
probably all a
children
little
into
salty
this,
after that.
into this watery world. Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Just a tinge. Just a little bit.
You said you watched something on people whose grandparents were in the Civil War.
Yeah, there's still people.
What?
Like people to this day can tell you about.
Oh, their grandparents. Okay,
the
that makes more
stories
sense.
that their
I was like-
grandparents told you about. Well, like they
No,
can.
no, they're still like, yeah. Don't hold me to this, but I think there's only like 2 where their parents had kids in like the 1930s, and these people were in the Civil War and still have children that are alive today.
So these people that had
First
children, they were like
generation.
70
Yeah,
years
the
old.
kid, the children now are obviously like in their 90s, but they're still here.
Mm-hmm.
But no, when they conceived, when the parent got laid, the dude that was in
left it at conceived.
the dude was like 70 years
Yeah,
old
they're super old.
from the Civil War.
Nice.
Yeah.
Talking
And like
Old
there's
Testament
people that
style.
are still alive that were able to talk to their paw that was in the Civil War.
Probably don't remember
Yeah,
much
yeah.
of that, but yeah.
Still, that is.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
That seems so far away.
Yeah, to us.
I mean, it was.
Yeah, people talk about the Civil War, but you figure 3 generations will put you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that fun?
We have a great grandma who's just turned 98.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
it's pretty wild.
Great.
So her grandparent theoretically could have was around, I guess, at that time. Theoretically,
crazy.
Maybe.
Yeah. So she's shown us pictures of. She grew up in Arlington,
Oh, wow.
and so like she has pictures, man, from back then when she was like teenager and younger of Arlington back then. We're talking dirt roads. We're talking. I mean, it's stripped out.
Completely different, yeah.
Oh man, it's so crazy. And of BC too. I mean, pictures from back then of that whole area
are just crazy. I mean, they'll blow your mind. Horses and
buggies and shit on the streets. I got pictures of my dad's, and she passed away. It was I guess it'd be my great grandmother, be my dad's grandmother. She passed away, and it was the late '90s, like maybe '97 or so. But there was pictures of her when they were doing the park system. They lived up on the parks, and
Gotcha.
G-men came knocking on your door and like, you gotta go.
there still remains of the old homesteads up there. I've seen them.
They said that their foundation chimney's still up there. I've never been up to it, but like
I could have been. I've seen a few of them, man. I've hiked up to them. It's pretty wild. Yeah.
She I remember that woman. She kind of had like the hard R like in her voice, like the Scotch Irish, hard. And she was one of those like snuff doing grannies too. She'd do snuff, like old mountain people, man.
Snorting it?
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that still exist, probably in Stanley, that you don't see too much of.
Things that have only existed in Stanley.
A very small gene pool.
And by things I mean people.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And by people I mean things. I'll drop that topic. I'm known to be hunted down by any native Stanlians.
I think their sheriff, it was a sheriff or somebody down there just got arrested not too long ago for like cockfighting.
I'm sure. All that stuff's commonplace there. There was like all these old hollers and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
up in Stanley where, the cops, the sheriff wouldn't, or I shouldn't say the cops, but back then it was the sheriff wouldn't go because, the sheriff would drive up in there and then the freaking hillbillies that lived up in there would cut trees down after they'd entered to keep them from getting back out.
Yeah.
Them kind of stories, deliverance, banjos, and you name it, man. That's a crazy
Squeak
place.
like a pig, boy. Ew.
Good Lord. Oh my gosh. So somebody brought something to my attention, a listener of this podcast. I noticed it earlier when we were talking about something intense. Your voice was like way up here and like you got super intense. And somebody brought this to my attention. They're like, whenever your brother, like they listen to it all the time. They're like, he starts off like this. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's like, but then by the end of it, he's
nice,
screaming.
easy radio voice.
It's hilarious. It's a crescendo the whole time.
Hello there, and
It's
we're going to
fantastic.
rock real hard tonight. We're bringing you the beach tonight. We're going to rock your socks off.
Oh my gosh, you should do children's birthday parties. Good
Just
Lord.
like that.
Oh
Who's ready to
wow.
have a good time?
I mean, I think once you get to
The world's most calm clown. Yeah.
Who's ready to who's ready to hit the pinata?
And there's a swing and a miss, people. Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss on that one.
Yeah.
All right, Tommy, I think you're up.
he
Tommy.
just got out.
Let's go ahead and pass.
Well,
on the
no
bat,
cutting,
please.
no cutting.
Everybody
Well,
calm
he
down.
caught the ball really fast. and
There's
he
some
threw it to
sugar-free
first
candy
base,
in there
and
as
he
well.
got
Be
him
sure to
out.
grab that, please. It's good.
Lord.
Get your peanuts, folks. Get your peanuts.
Oh man.
Oh, they're selling peanuts.
You better get on those while they're hot.
Good Lord.
And even put a little cinnamon on some of them. If you're feeling wild tonight.
Oh, pizza's ready, and yes, it was DiGiorno. No, not delivery. Oh my gosh,
And getting kind of wild up in here.
that's fantastic.
So
Oh,
are your
go ahead.
podcasts normally like 3 hours long?
Well, this is definitely going to be at least a two-parter.
Nice.
But sweet. It's all
I
right.
expected nothing less. After
part of it.
Buzz and Bizz and
Biz and Buzz.
Bizz and Buzz.
Taking down this motherfucker.
It's actually
Buzz.
butt tightly.
Oh, I was thinking more like buzz tightly and jizz loosely.
We tried to incorporate other people, and it's always like play on words. Like I tried to get the wife in here, and we want her as like a weather lady, and she would be sharing needles.
We hit our
It is.
stormy weathers.
That's a good point. Oh, Lord. I hadn't, speaking of commentating things, I was thinking about the other day, brought this up to the wife. Well, she wasn't interested, as usual. But what happened was
You did say wife, so.
that's a good point. But I was thinking a potentially funny idea would be to take somebody who knows nothing about a certain sport and just have them like commentate
it.
the sport. Like it'd be genius.
That'd be great.
Like I don't know much about like.
Well, they got to
most
be
sports, but
charismatic. Like you can't have them be like all.
Just yeah, I mean if they're too dumb or dull, yeah, get them out of there.
Have
but-
you ever watched the? I think he's on YouTube. It's called like the Aussie Man Reviews.
Yeah.
It's the Australian guy.
No,
Check
I
him out
haven't.
one time.
Okay.
He
the Aussie
he does
Man.
it. Like I don't know if he knows anything about sports or not, but it doesn't sound like it.
Right.
And it's like the thickest Australian accent, and you know it's great.
Oh, it's loud and it's like.
Yeah, intense.
Yeah. He's like, oh my God.
Crikey, you know. I think he's actually Australian. Probably sounds better than our version.
Could be. You know, people in other countries do pretty good American accents. That's always fun.
Yeah,
it's fun to watch those
blows
videos.
my mind. You know, watching Game of Thrones and
Right.
The Walking Dead was when it first like dawned on me when I found out Rick was English. I don't know,
Probably not
but
American.
he
yeah.
doesn't speak.
Right.
I mean, he has an accent.
Yeah.
And when I first heard him do an interview, I'm like, wow, I can't believe this guy is. I can't believe this guy
Not American.
is authentic.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, and they do a good job at
American
changing
accents.
their accent to American.
Yeah, it is. Some of them you'd never know. That's for sure.
I mean, somebody just said Game of Thrones. Does everybody here watch Game of Thrones?
I watched it. Well, I didn't watch all of it.
God, it's so good.
My wife has
We're
watched
talking
it
about
3
Jack
times.
Steller
Yeah.
from Sons of Anarchy. Is that what you're talking about with the accents and the authenticity?
No.
Because that dude's straight up like Australian.
Yeah, he
Is
is.
he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
And now that you know, if you ever watch the show, you'll pick up.
Pick up on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing with like Tom Hardy being British.
So maybe
You know, you can
Yeah.
tell. You can
our
tell.
American accent is the easiest thing to mimic.
I guess.
Maybe.
Oh, we.
It's really
back to the
hard
accent.
We have like almost a whole episode on accents.
Like,
Yeah, we
isn't
do.
like
it's really hard to put on a different accent without sounding like you're
not too
English
bad.
or from Australia.
yeah. If you say beer can with an English accent, it sounds like you're saying bacon in Jamaican.
That's true.
Beer can.
Bacon. Bacon. Pass me the bacon.
Sweet.
Humble bacon.
If you say raise up lights
Sorry.
or razor blades and say it in English accent,
If you say
it's
raise up
blades.
lights
raise up lights.
with an English
raise
accent,
up lights.
it sounds like raise up
gotcha.
blades in Australian.
Rise up lights.
Yeah. That's pretty good. You know, if you hold your tongue and say, I'm just kidding.
We did a report. We did a first report on the
that?
Apple House.
Calculators upside down.
Welcome to the Apple. Welcome to the
Apple
asshole
House.
house.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
no, it's the Apple House.
I saw
I was
a
like,
meme-
oh, the
yeah.
guy must have been holding his tongue when he told me.
I saw a meme the other day. It was Mike Tyson sitting there, and like this.
Oh, God.
It was like his wife, or just some attractive woman. It was like, "Draw me a bath, honey," and then it turned to him, and it was just him, like painting a fish.
Show me a bath.
yeah. Me bath, dude.
Hey, man, that's-
Again, thank you,
that's not-
internet.
didn't sound anything.
No,
like
he's he's got that high pitched voice. So
He does. He's an interesting cat.
I'm gonna step outside and smoke.
Yeah, I think we're about ready to wrap this one up. I think we've wasted enough of your time here.
No time wasted here.
Yeah, I know. I had a blast. I'm not.
Yes.
I did too.
We had a great time on the show as well. At least I'll speak for myself. I know.
I do.
You sounded like you did. You were over there holding your side the entire time.
Although it was a painful experience, but I enjoyed it.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, Front Row First Report. Thanks so much for coming on. We love to have you, and you're welcome back anytime. We hope to see you again soon.
Awesome.
Thank you for
guys.
having us.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I don't think we've ever been on the air this long before.
That's it.
First time for the First Report, my friend.
All right.
Awesome, man.
Here we are.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
And so before we end this episode, I'd like to remind you guys out there listening that if you enjoy our show, please give us a review and rate the show on iTunes. It helps us out big time.
Absolutely. We appreciate those of you who have been listening, and we hope you enjoy the content as much as we enjoy bringing it to you.
Hey, if you made it this far, thanks so much for tuning in. We really hope you enjoyed the show.
Stay grimy.